an official yellow taxi in New York City. It was a long passport control. I did skip the queue. I did get shouted at by a Brazilian man. I'm really excited. It has been 5 years since I was in New York last, and 7 years since I actually did a documentary here with ID Magazine. I'm also doing an installation at Dover Street Market again. And, you know, the first time I was here, I was like kind of talking to young designers, club kids. I remember there was a moment where I was filming at the Standard. I was talking to this really amazing club hostess about not being able to pay my rent. And, you know, 7 years on, I can pay my rent now. So, but yeah, really excited and can't wait to meet some of the people that we're going to go see.
Did I just plan a Paris Fashion Week? And they're like, so Colin, this is in front of like 20 of your closest friends, right? I'm like, no, dude, this is in front of like a 2,000 of like the biggest people in fashion.
We're gonna go see the design duo Ducky Brown.
In pieces. We just dived in. Some of the things that I put on in here, in this room, are only for this room. I have a fantasy of either going back to the Royal and doing an MA because I got rejected the first time, bitches.
The team at Dover Street Market.
Ooh, New York style. I'm a New York native, born and raised. I'm from the Bronx. Confidence and just rocking whatever you rocking. Dapper Dan eras, etc. Cayenne, Y2K, punk, emo.
I've got a few people we're gonna go see.
I love like that dominatrix, like 60s powerful woman. How do you say like you sexy bitch? You just say like, what?
My mouth was kind of crazy when I was younger, in my 20s. I was just like a little unhinged. It was crazy, like the walls were sweating, people were naked, it was gay, it was straight, it was everything.
Let's get into it. Hello, hello. Okay, is it on? Is this bitch recording? Okay. Hi, so we're here in Bushwick and we're going to interview one of my favorite artists right now, Joey Labeija. I'm so excited. Joey Labeija is originally a DJ and now a music producer and creates their own music for themselves. I'm just really excited to find out more about him and his own personal style and what he thinks of New York right now. So, Joey, like, hi, how are you? So for me, like, I feel like I really zoomed in on your work, like, from just listening to the Moa Lola runway soundtracks. I saw your name come up and I was like, I know that person. I was like, I need to like engage. And then I started like completely going into your universe and I was like, I have to meet you to understand a little bit more about who you are. So for people that might not know you, could you please describe yourself?
Inconsistent, but consistent. I think that's what like my whole brand is. It's just like, it's just something that is never the same, but there's something similar always. In 2011, I was Suzanne Barch's assistant for a little bit.
Wow, okay.
And at that time I was making t-shirts with my friend. We had this little clothing line called Young Broken Famous. And I always just needed to have my hand in a bunch of different pots to like not be bored. So I was doing shirts, doing hair, and now started to DJ. And then one of my DJ friends one night was like, dude, you're really doing your own thing. I was starting to like make edits of other people's music. And he was like, just do your own shit. And I was like, I guess I'll try.
And in terms of your like own personal style, like, you know, how do you think that that sort of changed from around like 7-8 years ago when you first sort of started? Like, do you feel like you sort of evolved or do you think it's still consistent?
No, I feel like it's all the same. Like, you know, I've taken a few years off from making music because this is the first time in my life where I've like stable and having a home and like building that life for myself. I've been listening to all my old stuff and I'm like, wow, this all sounds the same but so different.
It still sounds so like current, like, you know, like I was listening to it like so much over the past couple of like weeks and like it's just so like it's so fresh. We obviously partied in I'm sure like a similar kind of way, similar crowds like back in our 20s. And now we're kind of in our early 30s and kind of, you know, as you're talking about kind of that stability, like where does Nightlife sit in your life now?
I'm just thinking about what my dog is doing. Yeah. And I like want to come home to him. I started throwing parties because there was no place that felt right for me to play. Mm-hmm. I had clubs shut down. I've had owners like kick me off. It was crazy. Like the walls were sweating, people were naked, it was gay, it was straight, it was everything. Like it was It was really special and rare.
Our next destination, Argon Props. Here, expert fabricators breathe life into my illustrated design using 3D modeling and various sculpting techniques. They crafted our installation to celebrate Dover Street Market, New York's 10th anniversary. Here, we meet with the fascinating Niko Haagenson, makeup devotee, TikTok creator, and fashion provocateur.
Get ready with me to meet my favorite designer of all time. Let's get into it. I've been so excited for this moment. I literally was like planning out my makeup last night. Also, I should probably mention now, my favorite designer of all time is Charles Jeffrey Loverboy. He's here in New York for an installation at Dover Street Market, and he is kind enough to invite me over to help him finish up the props. We're doing some very dramatic blush, of course. Time for my moustache. Now for the eyes, we're gonna take this gorgeous shade from Half Magic, and we're just gonna place it here. Just for a little bit of depth. And this is the look.
We've reached Dover Street Market, where I'm adding some gooey and drippy finishing touches. Returning to this store brings a wave of fond nostalgia. Dover Street Market have been supporting the brand since its inception. Returning back to Dover Street Market for the closed launch, eager to witness the merchandised installation, chat with customers, and reconnect with Angelica Davinci, the floor manager. So we're here at Dover Street Market, New York with the wonderful Angelica. Angelica, I'm really grateful that you're able to talk to us. I know you're really busy today because it's a very special day for the store. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on here?
Yes, so today we're actually celebrating the start of Tachagari, which is the rebirth of a new season, which is in preparation for our 10-year anniversary that will be approaching us come November. So it was a really, really exciting renovation. We have phenomenal new spaces, new movements. And we're just, again, now, this is kind of like the seed, and now we're gonna really start to blossom that forward. It's one of the best retailers in the world, and not because I work here. It's really just the ethos, the heritage, the love, the passion for fashion, and really like Touch alone, it was like one of the most wonderful things that can ever be a part of.
So I'm really interested because I think Dover Street, as you said, it's one of the best retailers in the world, and I think one of the reasons for that is the way that it does its kind of layouts. Obviously it gives designers the opportunity to express themselves in their own ways, more so than any other stores that I've ever encountered in my time being a designer. But I think another thing that I really like about it is the fact that it doesn't really feel very gendered, you know, like I think that's the thing that's very progressive for a retailer.
My answer to that is always like, it's just clothes.
Yeah.
So if you genuinely just like it, if you have the body type, if it fits you correctly and the way you feel the most confident, wear it. I don't think it has anything to do with, oh, this is feminine, this is masculine, this is whatever. And I really do appreciate that in the Dover world, the fact that they're able to mesh that so well.
I want to talk to you about New York style, you know, like it's so unique. Like I've been here for like maybe 6 days now, and I've really kind of got a flavor for it. I want to hear your perspective on what you think New York style is compared to other cities.
Ooh, New York style. I'm a New York native, born and raised. I'm from the Bronx. New York style, I don't know. For me, it's like confidence and just rocking whatever you rocking. We know what we're talking about. We know what's hot. I feel like a lot of the influences do come from hip hop. We could go way back to like the Dapper Dan eras, etc.
Oh yeah.
Everything really came, I think, in New York City from that seed of hip hop, whether that's high-end, Y2K, punk, emo, etc., etc. I do feel like, again, it all comes down from that.
Angelica's words capture it perfectly. New Yorkers are a wellspring of inspiration. It feels good to be back in the city, experiencing them all firsthand. Someone who exudes New York style and confidence is Colm Dillon from KidSuper. I'm on my way to meet him at the studio in Williamsburg. Okay, well, I, like many interviewers, always just want to start from beginning. Like, how did you get yourself into the KidSuper brand? Like, where did you even, how did it begin?
The famous story is I was in high school and I would paint on people's shirts for their birthdays, and I'd spray paint and make people's shirts. And I was always good at drawing because my mom was a good drawer and we'd draw growing up. And so from then I had heard about all these brands, and a lot of them were started in New York. And so I was like, man, we could have our own brand. So in high school, me and my friends launched like a streetwear t-shirt brand. I did this like my first thing for Converse, and they were like, it's $5,000. And I was like, Converse, I'm not paying you $5,000 to be part of this photo shoot. They're like, you idiot, we're paying you. And so we had this like blue building brigade is what we called it. And yeah, that was like the real beginning of KidSuper becoming like a more of a cultural community thing.
One of the things that I like that made me take notice of you was your art auction show. You know, through Bliss Foster, like he was telling me, I think he'd just come from your show, and he was like, it was fucking insane, it was so cool. And then all of that drama that I saw, and I was like, fuck, this is what's missing, you know?
And I'd called the brand KidSuper, and I'd done a lot of like super stuff that people didn't doubt me at all. And I was always this like streetwear kid that like kind of was, but then you put it under the lens of Paris Fashion Week, some people started being like, ooh, he's a designer, or oh, he's an artist. And like, you know, that was a thing I was struggling, like a little bit trying to prove to everyone. I was like, yeah, I know I didn't go to school or whatever, but like, look how much work I've done to get here. So I did the Louis Vuitton show, which...
Yeah, I was wanting to ask about like how that kind of came about, because that was, I mean, that was another thing when, because I was so blown away by the art auction show, and then seeing that, I was just like so excited for you. It was like, again, I was like, yes, and then seeing the whole thing unfold. Like, talk to me about how that started.
So obviously, after Virgil passed, everyone's like, who's next at LV? And I'm with all my friends like, I wonder who's next. Never in a fucking million years putting myself there. Like, not even like to be humble, just to be like 2 + 2 is not 5. I always knew I was gonna do creative stuff because I was always that person, but I didn't know it was gonna be fashion or whatever. It's a competition of ideas and brand identity. So then who gives a fuck about the clothes? Like, if it's wearable or not. If it's a real original idea, then it should be hailed and applauded. The great thing about the canvas auction one was that was a perfect 50-50. Clothes could see perfectly, concept incredible and artistic, and took you away. Comedy show, which was probably like 80-15. Fashion was like very little. My theater one was like 6% fashion, 94% like ideas. And I think a really well-received fashion show is probably 50-50. But also, who the fuck cares? You're spending 100% of your money, or like whatever, a ton on your fashion show. I'm not gonna do it for nothing. Like, I have to be creatively fulfilled. It's not so much about the money thing, but like, I think we're in a time now where an artist is a complete everything. It's not just you're a good paint, like skill-wise. You need a story to tell. You need a perspective. You need to prove to people that you can like really do things and get people together. We're not in an era where you can just be like, and by the way, I paint on the side, and like, who? If I was a painter my whole life, how the fuck would anyone seen it?
Yeah, true.
And like, yeah, maybe I'd be really, really good at painting, but also like, what story would I tell? I hadn't lived. So like, what are you painting? So I don't know, but maybe this is just me being like, Mom, I did the right thing.
We're in our hotel room. We're here with Niko. We're going to do some makeup. We're going to Labeija. We're going to go to Suzanne Bartsch's party.
Suzanne Bartsch has been dubbed New York's Queen of the Night. Her occupation? Well, she puts on parties.
And we're gonna have a good time. Also, it's my birthday.
Let's give Charles Jeffrey this expressionist fantasy. Let's get into it. This is Miss Charles Jeffrey herself.
Hello-y.
We're gonna be painting her white. Actually, one of the best fun facts is I started painting my face white mostly after the Loverboy looks. Red lipstick has always been like one of those things for me. Not even like the eroticism of it, but there's so much power. Like when when I don't have a red lip on, I feel naked.
What made you grow a mustache?
I love the 70s a lot. Like that whole period. I love like vintage, like the aesthetics of like vintage porn. Where I found myself in makeup was more so when I started like painting like this and painting when I connected my love for art history and my love for makeup. Because I realized I just never cared to look like, do a graphic liner or like something really beautiful. I always just wanted to look a bit freaky.
Yeah.
So, and when I want to do something, I do it. It's like my mom forbade me, we're all good now, I love my mother. She forbade me from going to school with makeup on, but me being the little rebel I am, I would drive to school, so I would change in the car and do my makeup in like the 20 minutes I had. And this is the final look. There's this one museum, the Glenstone. You know Carol Walker?
You're gonna drop this bozo.
This is so fucked. Like, he's so mad with her. We danced the night away. It was good to put on makeup and get on the dance floor with my fellow queers. Nights like this in New York seem to stand the test of time. She must be doing something right. Now we meet with Stephen Cox and Daniel Silver, design duo at Ducky Brown. We chat about their unique style in designing and how they built their brand.
Here is a shot of the first collection.
We just started it. As we said, it was 17 pieces.
We just dived in.
Actually, September the 11th, 2001.
Oh fuck, you started then?
I was very, 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 very unconfident of sketching. And it took me many years to become much better and actually good at the sketching, which I love doing now. I don't want the clothes on the body, I want them off the body, but they're on the body, kind of hanging from the body.
It's like very mercurial, very fluid.
I don't do anything on computer. All my forms, and I mean, the factories are like, you know, I give them this.
There you go, my love.
So it goes from here to here, out to the factory, back here, and then we start selling it. I mean, it's a simple process.
Well, then we have to photograph it.
Yes, so that takes us to the place where you are now, because you used to do fashion shows. You did fashion shows for a long time, and then COVID happened, and you now work in this very specific way, which is how I discovered you.
We have that with the customers.
Yeah.
Because we only do one-on-ones, really. So it's one person in here. Some come in here and they're so nervous almost.
To meet us.
Right.
Relax, come on, have a drink, whatever. There's no pressure. We'll take you through the collection. You don't have to buy
We
anything.
just say, take your clothes off.
Yeah.
Because people are like going, oh, do you mind if I go in the bathroom? We're like, no, just take your clothes off here.
We get everyone into their bra.
But it's a new experience, because this is what we used to do in the olden days. Like, everyone would have tailor, and everyone had a relationship with clothes that was very personal. Whereas now people just have so much stuff, you lose that magic. And I think you guys having that kind of tailored approach, but it's playful. It comes from culture. There's somebody else kind of projecting their viewpoint on life onto you. Meeting with Ducky Brown was so inspirational and fun. The city never seems to be short of keeping people inspired. Before wrapping up my trip, I hopped on one final boat ride to reflect on my time here. Ah, what a lovely day here in New York City, where we are on the pond in Central Park. I don't know how long I can keep this accent up for. I'm doing things in my own pace, in my own time. I definitely feel like the city has changed alongside that. You know, I don't feel like there is like that kind of DIY sort of club to catwalk feeling that there was when I first came. But, you know, there's definitely still people who are expressing themselves and trying to make a name for themselves. You okay? New York's more than just its landmarks. It's the heartbeat of every interaction, every shared moment. Between the buzz and the bright lights, it's the folks I've come across that made all the difference. From tech gurus to fashion trailblazers, their stories have woven into the fabric of my journey. And now, as I reflect, it's not just the cityscapes I see, but the conversations, the insights, and the laughs. That's the real magic of New York City for me. We're in New York on a boat coasting through the bridge, trying not to hit anybody or splash them in the face. But baby, I'll go through that bridge with determination and grace.